Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome to another third episode of the Blissful Living Podcast. I am Dr. Rochel Marie Lawson, and I'm known as the Queen of Feeling Fabulous. And I have a wonderful guest, Urmi, here with me today. And we attempted to do this a little while ago, a few weeks ago, but our energy was so powerful that we were blowing out the technology. So we are embarking on this beautiful interview with Urmi once again. So I'd like to tell you, find something to write with, your favorite pen, pencil, favorite place to sit, get your favorite beverage, tell your family to give you a few moments. And while you're doing that, I'm going to thank our sponsors, Blissful Living for You at Blissful Living, the number 4, the letter U.com. You want to go check them out. They just had a phenomenal virtual summit a couple of days ago called Bold and Bankable. And it's all about being bold and utilizing that energy to create wealth in your life and strategies on how you could do that. Also, they have a lot of things available for you to keep your wellness, wisdom, and wealth in check. Just little teasers and that infamous dosha quiz for both your personal self as well as your business to see where you are, what your tendencies are, and where your imbalances may be. So you want to check out Blissful Living at Blissful Living, the number 4, the letter U.com. The next sponsor is All Day Cable Incorporated. All Day Cable Inc. is a telecommunications installation company located in the heart of Silicon Valley. They've been in business since 1990, and they specialize in network distribution infrastructure. So voice, data, fiber optic cabling, wireless systems, access points, routers, modems, all of that kind of stuff, so that you can make that right connection with your customer on the other end the first time. If you're looking for a company that's been around for a couple of decades, 3 decades, and are a premier telecommunications installation company, then you want to check out All Day Cable Inc. at alldaycableinc.com. Okay, so now we're back.
Mhm.
And if you haven't already subscribed to the show, subscribe to the show. And if you haven't begun sharing the show with every woman you know, I suggest you start doing that today. So, Urmi, we're going to be talking about female mentoring, women in leadership without cultural expectations. And so, thank you again for saying yes to redoing our show. And it's a pleasure to
Yeah.
have you. So, I want you to give the audience a little bit of background with regards to what you do and the leadership roles that you play.
Yeah, definitely. So my name is Urmi. I'm based in Montreal. As I like to say, I'm a corporate girl as well as a creative soul. I do have a 9 to 5 job, but I do also have a lot of passions that I do during my 5 to 9. I'm a self-published author, speaker, female mentor, blogger, YouTuber, and I'm a new podcast host. I recently launched my first podcast called Stories Beyond Borders. It's been basically out there for the past 2 months, and I'm a big advocate of women's empowerment. I am indeed part of an organization called Women in Leadership, and I am part of the chapter, Montreal chapter, as the co-chair. So this is what I do during my 5 to 9.
Wow. Well, congratulations on being a new podcaster, as well as all the wonderful things that you're doing to help empower women and to show women that the path to leadership and empowerment can be easy when you're in a collective space where like minds think alike,
Yeah.
so to speak. So I love it. So now give us a background because you're beautiful. And I want the audience to really understand um, your journey. So give us a background, like where did you grow up? What is your ethnicity? And then we'll dialogue about how that might have been challenging for you on your journey to where you are today.
For sure. So I consider myself a third culture kid. So basically, what it means is that I was born and raised in Italy, and both of my parents are from Bangladesh. I have lived, I would say, a big chunk of my life from 19 years for 19 years in Italy. We moved around, I have to say the truth. We went from the south to the north. We went to UK for a year, came back to Italy. So we're always like moving around. And then in 2010, I moved to Canada, which is also what I would say my second home. I've been living here for a while. I do have the Canadian citizenship. And I do consider myself, Italian Bengali, and Italy is my home. And yeah, I always say I'm Italian by birth and Bengali by blood. That's how I like to be known for.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So now there's a lot of culture in that. You have your native culture being from, your origins are from Bangladesh, and then growing up in Italy, and then being in Canada and going to
Yeah.
the UK. You've had a lot of experiences. With regards to your journey in your leadership role with what you do, what has been the most challenging aspect for you uh, in that role and in that journey?
And let me tell you this, I feel like when it comes to leadership, one thing that I felt was lacking was a lot of representation, and a lot of representation of people that look like me. I grew up, predominantly in Italy, and I feel like there was no one that looked like me, especially when it came to leadership roles. And then, of course, I moved to Canada, I studied here, and I work in a very male-dominated industry where I also don't see a lot of representation. And that has been quite a challenge because I feel like, some of the needs that we have as women of color are not always being addressed, especially because we're different from other people. And so
Right.
this is why I was like, okay, I need to step up and take on some actions and be part of organization like Women in Leadership so that we can change the narrative and have more representation, more diversity, especially when it comes to leadership roles, because we don't have enough of it. Unfortunately, we don't. And it's always very, very hard. And sometimes we start to question ourselves and be like, okay, do I deserve to be here? Is this the right place for me? Do I have a seat at this table? And some things that I have learned throughout my experiences was that, you know, you create your own seat. You don't need anyone to invite you to it. You are there because you worked really hard to get there. And I've been doing that to prove myself that I can do this. And I want to be an example for other women, especially women of color, that, you deserve to be in that room. You deserve to be in that table with other people. You work for it.
I
So
love
that's
that.
what I've been doing. Yeah.
I love that. We're going to talk more about that. We got to take a quick break, but we'll be right back to the Blissful Living Podcast. Stay tuned. I hope you are taking notes, and I hope you've already shared it with someone that you love and care about. This is going to be a powerful show. Be right back. Stay tuned. All righty, welcome back to the Blissful Living Podcast. It's Dr. Rochel Marie Lawson, the Queen of Feeling Fabulous with Urmi, and we're talking about leadership and her roles and just women of color. I like what you said before we went to the break with regards to one, you deserve that seat, so never be apologetic for it. And
Yeah.
two, if you don't have a seat, create your own seat. That one right there, I can tell you from my own experience that I've been the only woman and the only woman of color on board of directors that it was quite interesting. And so when it comes to creating our own seats, it's exactly what I like to do. So looks like we might be having technical challenges once again, but I'm going to continue with regards to that. Ladies out there and gentlemen, people of color, never feel like you have to apologize for being at the seat of a table that is a leadership table, or you're being in a leadership position. There's no need to apologize. You absolutely deserve to be there, and that's why you were able to obtain um, that role. However, sometimes we get bombarded by external, I want to say, generalities of our culture, and it might be a little bit more difficult to be taken seriously. But I'm here to share with you all that no matter what, no matter what, if you're looking to be in a leadership position, if you're looking for a woman to help you obtain the necessary avenues to get to that leadership position that you desire and you seek to be in, then go ahead and go out there and find an organization that is filled with women that are successful and that are looking to help other women rise to the occasion, because that is where you will find some significant help with regards to getting in and obtaining those seats that you desire to be in. Now, Urmi, I want to ask you this, and welcome back. I want to ask you this. When it comes to mentoring, did you have a mentor? Because I know you're in a male-dominated industry. Did you have a mentor? And if so, was it a female mentor or was it a male mentor? And how did that go?
So let me tell you this. When I grew up, when I grew up, I did not have a mentor. I did not have anyone that looked like me. So I was always seeking that sort of like guidance that I always wanted to have with the, let's say, that you get from a bigger sister, right? With from an older sister. And then what happened is I moved to Canada, and of course I was studying finance and so forth, and I still was lacking a mentor. And when I started to work, I did have some mentors, I have to say. I was lucky enough that I found great mentors. I did have both female and male mentors. Some of them were officially my mentors and some others were unofficially my mentors. But for me, like my mentors have been really like great gurus, especially the woman. One of the person that have mentored me, she was basically my manager, and she wasn't officially my mentor, but I always looked up to her. I saw her as a charismatic leader, someone who was able to influence and inspire other people, and she was really for me the role model. And I remember thinking, like, I would always go to her for guidance, and I remember thinking this is the kind of mentor I want to be also for other people. So I was immediately inspired by her, and I was like, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. And she had a huge impact, especially from my career, because a lot of the things that I have done afterwards when I started to work, it was because I got all the advice and tips for her. And she always encouraged me, like, go for it, go and do these things, chase your dreams. So she has been really a fundamental figure in my life.
I love that. I love how you shared that, because my next question is, what advice would you give to a woman, particularly a woman of color, but any woman that is looking to find or seeking to find a mentor to help guide them along their journey?
Here's the thing, especially for a woman of color, I would say always go and look for another mentor who's also a woman of color, because we go through certain things that only women of color go through, especially when you're moving around from one country to another. Like, I can give you advice on that, but if I go and speak with someone who has never moved, it's quite hard to get some guidance. So my advice is always like, go find someone who's similar to you. And when you are looking to find a mentor, always think about what comes first, which is the human connection. Like, we always want to jump in and get into business, like it's mentorship, relationship. But I think what's most important first is to build that human connection, that genuine connection that comes when two humans are together. And that what will make the relationship stronger. And once you start sharing, some of your things or some of your hobbies, always see that you are able to find someone who's similar to you in terms of that. And that what will help to make this, instant connection much, much easier. And of course, as a mentor or also as a mentee, especially when you are a mentee, you always want to make sure that you have clear goals in mind. Mentors are giving you the time, and they are giving you their expert advice on some subjects. So you always want to make sure that you have clear goals, you know what you're going for, and you want to be proactive about it.
I love those tips, because I think young ladies coming up and, particularly coming out of college and not having much experience, particularly, sometimes as women of color, we don't get the opportunities to have experiences in the positions that we're seeking to obtain after college, right? And so,
Yeah.
making sure that you have a mentor that kind of can really is a representation of you, meaning a woman of color, because it is, I hate to say it, but it is in the world. And I'm not going to just say the United States, it's around the world. Women of color have different challenges than women of
Yeah.
non-color, right? And just keeping it real, not to separate us or anything like that. But I think also shows like what we're doing is the more we can get information out about our struggles and our journey, it also helps women of non-color to understand our journey, because sometimes they don't see it because they're not in the midst of it, right? They may hear things that happen secondhand, but because they don't have the experiences that we have, sometimes it's very difficult for them to relate. And I think that's just in anything in life, but it's really, really difficult for them to relate when it comes to, taking on leadership roles and trying to get into the C-suite and things of that nature. We've got to take another quick break, but we will be right back with our beautiful, fabulous discussion with Urmi. So stay tuned. And this is your opportunity to share the show. So go share the show with somebody and just take the link and share it with 10 people while we're on break. We'll be right back to the Blissful Living Podcast in just a few moments. Alrighty, we are back. It's Dr. Rochel Marie Lawson with Urmi, and we're talking about female mentoring, women in leadership, and living without cultural expectations. So now I want to jump back to the cultural expectation. I know as an African American woman, biracial, multiracial, I'm going to say woman, but what you see is I'm a Black woman, right? Don't see all the other stuff that's mixed in. You just see the Black, this fabulous Black girl, right? But with regards to that, and you being with a cultural background from Bengali, our cultures are different, and there's expectations that are put upon us just based on our culture, right? Like I remember when I went off to college, I was the first one in my family to go to a 4-year university. Why was I doing that? I'm a girl, right? And that was both on the all aspects of my culture. And then I was expected to get married and have children right away. And I didn't. I got married, but I didn't have children for quite a while. It was just all the stuff. Why did I want to go back to school and get another degree? I'm married. Now I have kids. You should stay at home and raise your kids and blah, 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 blah. And I was such a rebel that I blew all of that. Everything they said I should do, I did the exact opposite. And I took some heat for it. But then once they saw what I was doing and the success I was having and how I was enjoying it, they began to embrace it a little. Can you share with us? Did you have any of those kind of challenges?
Yeah, let me tell you this. I think no matter where we go, no matter in which country we are, I think women are treated the same way. And it's unfortunate, I have to say. And I can definitely tell you that I have seen how women are treated in Bangladesh. We are often seen as a financial burden. We are taught basically to be people pleaser, to care for others, which is not a bad thing, but we are never given an opportunity to further our studies. If there is, let's say you have a brother, typically the brother will get, the chance to travel and study abroad, or maybe who will have the chance to study in a school. And usually girls and young girls especially, they do have sometimes this difficulty where, when a girl is born, and usually the family is thinking, okay, who's gonna take care of her when she reaches a certain age? And then there is this whole issue with child marriages where, girls are basically married at a young age.
Yeah.
And I can definitely tell you that there is, of course, an expectation being a woman that once you're done with school, you have to get married, you have to have kids and so forth. And usually if it's a boy, you don't have that expectation, right? That you can go and become whatever you want to do. And usually when it's a girl, you have to ask the permission to follow your dreams, which is terrible, I would say. So I did feel the same way. In a sense, I think that when it came to further studying, it was like no one ever supported me in that, but I still went and did it because it was my own personal growth, my own professional growth. But I can see how this is not viewed in a nice way. Like it's never celebrated when a woman wants to think about her career, wants to, grow as a person, let's say start even a business. It's usually expected that you follow the conventional way, of what every single woman should be doing. So in that sense, yes, I can definitely tell you that is very, very similar no matter where we go.
I love it. I love that you shared that, because I think it gives people more of a visualization of what we go through. And I think every culture out there has something. and I want to say people of color. I'm just got what I know, but I think there's expectations in every culture. And it's funny because me and you seem to be the rebels,
Oh, yes.
it was like, why did you want to go? Why do you want to go to college? Who's going to pay for that? I'm going to figure it out myself. You
That's
know,
it.
I'm not expecting someone to pay for it. When I was married, I went to go buy my car. It's like, I just wanted a new car. I was tired of driving that little bucket. I paid $500 for that, didn't have a heater that worked. Right. And so I just went out and bought a car. My mom was like, you went and bought a car by yourself? What happened? Where was your husband? I'm like, I don't need him to buy a car. First of all, I work. I don't need his permission. And if I
That's
want to go
it.
buy a car, I'm going to take the money I made, and do. And I'm like, what do you mean? Ask his permission? And she goes, you're such a rebel. And I'm like, yeah, I'm breaking the norms here because I can't.
Yeah,
It just doesn't make sense to me to ask someone permission when I'm a grown woman, and I'm
that's
not
it.
doing anything bad or harmful. Actually, having that second car that actually was reliable was beneficial to to us as a married couple. So it is very interesting, but we do go through things a little bit different, and it can be challenging when you want to step out and be a leader in in a
Yeah.
role that's not typically seen like in our families. We got to take another quick commercial break, but stay tuned. We'll be right back with Urmi, and we're talking more about living without cultural expectations on the Blissful Living Podcast. And be right back. Stay tuned. Hello, we're back. Welcome back to the Blissful Living Podcast. It's the Queen of Feeling Fabulous and Urmi talking about female mentoring, women in leadership, and living without cultural expectations. Now, I want to ask you, because we talked about living without cultural expectations and women in leadership, and what what we should be looking for if we're a race of non-white people. I'm just going to say that. I can't think of better words to say right now in the moment. But if we're not Caucasian and, we have ethnicity in us, we talked about how we should look for a female mentor that has ethnicity as well, right? Because
Mhm.
only they can understand the journey that we'll go through to get to those positions we desire to be. Do you have any words of wisdom or any other additional words of wisdom for ladies that look like us when it comes to seeking out a leadership role or being, once they've been moved into a position where they're in leadership, with regards to women coming up behind them? Do you have any words of wisdom or anything you want to share with the viewers and listeners with regards to that?
Yeah, I do have two tips. And the first one is related to mentorship, and it's mainly related to finding allies. And that's very important when it comes to, growing, climbing up the corporate ladder, or, like having someone to speak for you. So always find allies no matter where you go, whether it is inside the company or outside of it. So it's important to network really well and find the right person that will basically cheer for you. And the second thing, which I totally live by, is being your best advocate, being your best promoter. I know that sometimes this can be difficult, but you are the only person who knows best about yourself. And if you are seeking something, especially when it comes to, getting on this leadership position, make sure that you document every single thing that you do, and make sure that you use those as a proof that you deserve those roles, those leadership roles. So for me, I would say those are the biggest tips. Like, find good allies, find good, like, make sure to network really well and be your best promoter.
I love that because I don't think I've ever had anybody talk about finding allies with regards to, stepping. And that's huge. That's huge because you need allies. It's interesting. My daughter has done exactly what you said. I don't know where she learned it, but it was important for her to just, go in and do what was expected of her in her job. But then when it came to other positions that would come up in various companies, and these were people that she would have worked with, they became her allies and really her cheerleader to get her to either come to work for that company and take that position, or for them to look at her and, you need to get this girl. And I never thought about having an ally for me, back in the day when I was stepping into leadership roles. But now that I think about it, I had a ton of them. I had a ton of them. And I'm so grateful to have had those ladies that fought for me when I didn't even know that I needed to fight in the fight for myself, or that could vouch for me with regards to my credibility and all that good stuff. So, okay, one last word of wisdom that you would like to share on either female mentoring, women in leadership, or living without cultural expectations, or all three. Go for it.
Let me see. One that I really liked, and we touched upon it, is the word unapologetic. So I'll say be unapologetic no matter what you do.
Yes. Thank you. And own it. Own it.
Yes.
Yes, own it. Because the
Yes.
more you own it, the more confidence you appear and to have. And even if it's against the norm, people will begin to say, oh, maybe. I always think about Rihanna when, she has the song of Unapologetic. I love Rihanna. She's
Me too.
Baby girl.
Yeah.
Kids. But I love, her music, because her music was bold. It was daring. It was classy. It wasn't risque. It was class. I like some risque stuff too. But Rihanna, it was just classy. And she literally was telling us in her songs what she was doing or what she was going to do. And she's living the result of that today. You know what I mean? She is like, shine bright like a diamond, be unapologetic, and pour it up, meaning, pour it up. If you don't promote yourself, no one else is going to promote you. Just so many songs. So I guess I'm going to dedicate this show to you, Urmi, and to my girl Rihanna, who never know who's listening or watching. But I think it's been a pleasure to have you. I'm so glad we didn't have the technological challenge. When two powerful women come together, we just break everything. This time, the technology queens were like, oh, let's let them have their moment, because they've got wisdom that Urmi needs to share with the world. So thank you, Urmi, for saying yes to be on the show. Thank you to all of you for tuning in, sharing the show, subscribing to the show, and taking notes, because she dropped some words of wisdom on you all that you can definitely utilize in your life. I want to thank our sponsors, Blissful Living for You at Blissful Living, the number 4, the letter U.com, as well as All Day Cable Incorporated, that premier woman-owned telecommunications installation company located in the heart of Silicon Valley, at alldaycableinc.com. This is Dr. Rochel Marie Lawson, the Queen of Feeling Fabulous, and you have been listening to the Blissful Living Podcast. Until next time, I'm wishing you peace to your mind, wellness to your body, and tranquility to your spirit. Go out and command it like the queen that you are. And until next time, goodbye for now.